Okay, so good morning everyone. Okay, so today we are going to take a look at a grammar point in Unit 9, Petroleum Engineering, and our grammar point is present simple and present continuous. Okay, so let's take a look at all together. Okay, so the first one is present simple. We are going to talk about the usage of present simple. So the first one, we use present simple to talk about facts and things that are generally true. For examples, number one, the sun rises in the east. So all people accept that the sun rises in the east. Okay, and number two, the earth goes around the sun. So this is scientifically true. And number three, people are born and die. It is fact. Okay. We also use present simple to talk about our routines, and sometimes we can also use the verbs of frequency. For example, I come back to the rig every few weeks. Okay, and number two, we always have homework. So always is the adverb of frequency. We always have homework. That's our routine. Okay, and number three, my students never come to class on time. This is just an example, okay? Because my students mostly come to class on time. And number four, she often talks to me. Next, we also use present simple to talk about a permanent situation, which means for a long time. For example, my parents live in Phnom Penh. They probably have been living in Phnom Penh for a long time, but now they still live in Phnom Penh, and I think they will still live in Phnom Penh in the future. Okay. And number two, her brother works really hard. Okay. Next, we can also use present simple with the verbs that describe thinking and feeling. For example, feel, look, smell, and sound. Okay, so there are three sentences that I have used as an example. For example, number one, it looks amazing. Number two, it smells so good. Number three, I feel sleepy. And we can also say, oh, this sounds great. Okay. You look beautiful. Okay. Next. Okay, so I'm going to talk about note in present simple, and very important for all of you. Okay, so the note is that the first one, we use subject plus verb present, okay, for the form of present simple. For example, we say, I get up at 6. So I here is the subject and get up is the verb. Okay, we do not say I am get up at 6, because get up is a verb. Okay, we don't use verb to be in front of a verb like this. And next one, she hates me. Okay, not she is hates me, because hates is a verb. We don't use verb to be am is are with another verb like this. And the last one is they leave school at 11, not they leave school. Okay, because here the form is subject plus verb. Okay. Next one. Here, if you want to use verb to be, you need to make that it is used with either adjective or nouns. Okay. For example, they are smart. So smart is an adjective, so we need to use verb to be. And you cannot say they smart, because they smart is not a sentence. A sentence must have a subject and a verb. So the subject is they, the verb is are, and the adjective is smart. Okay. Next, we are classmates. So classmate is a noun. Okay, so we say we are classmates, not we classmates. And the last one, it is important. So important is an adjective, so we need to use verb to be in order to have it create a sentence. It is important. You cannot say it important. Okay, very good. Next, note number 3. This is also important for all of you. So note number 3. subject is the third person singular, he, she, or it, the verb needs an S. For example, my father works in a bank. He is hardworking. Okay, so my father is the third person singular. Okay, and we can replace my father with the pronoun he. Okay, so my father works in a bank. So work is a verb, and we need to add an S to the verb, so it becomes works. Okay, so my father works in a bank. He is hardworking. So hardworking is an adjective, so we need to use verb to be is. Okay, he is hardworking. An example: the power plant turns the turntable. So the power plant, as you can see here, is singular, so we need to add an S to the verb turns. Next one: as the pipe turns, the bit cuts the borehole. So the pipe here is singular, so the verb needs an S, turns. The bit is the subject, and cuts is the verb. Since the bit is the third person singular, we need to add S to the verb cuts. So here. Next one, we are going to take a look at note number 4. Okay, so we can only make change to the verb in positive sentence. Okay, either add S, es, all of that. But in negative and question form, we should use the base form of the verb. For example, we say my father works in a bank. So this sentence is in present. Okay, the verb is present, works, and it is in positive form. So we say my father works in a bank. But in negative form, we need to use does and not to have. So we say my father doesn't or does not work in the bank. So I would like all of you to take a look at the verb altogether. The word work here does not have an S, okay, because it stands after don't or doesn't. Okay, so we need to use the base form of the verb. My father doesn't work in a bank. In the question form, it's still the same. Okay, so does your father work in a bank? Okay, so we only need to move the word do or does to the start of the beginning of the sentence, and then the word work here still does not have an S because it is base verb. And again, we only add S, es, or res in the positive sentence. Next one. Here are more examples for all of you. So in positive form, she cares about her future. So she is the third person singular, so we need to add an S verb. The verb is care, so we need to add S in the verb. It becomes cares. So she cares about her future. But in negative form, we do not add an S to the verb because it stands after the verb doesn't. Okay, she doesn't care, not she doesn't cares. Okay, so she doesn't care about her future. In question form, we say does she care about her future? Okay, and an example, he tries to study. So the verb tried ends with letter Y. Okay, so we will change Y to IES because the subject is the third person singular. Okay, so he tries to study. In negative form, we say he doesn't try to study, but we don't change try to tries or change Y to because it is in negative form. Okay, the verbs stay the same. And the question, does he try to study? Okay, here are more examples. She teaches English at ITC. Okay, as you can see here, we add es to the verb. But in negative and question form, we do not change the verb. We only need to add does or doesn't, and that should be all. Here is note number 5. For the third person singular, when the verb ends with S, double S, SA, CA, H, and O, we need to add ES to the verb. For example, teach, I have shown you earlier, teach becomes teaches, fix becomes fixes, mess becomes messes, go becomes goes, dress becomes dresses, and touch becomes touches. Note number 6. Okay, note number 6, when the subject is a gerund. So a gerund refers to a verb plus ing, and it is just like a noun. Okay, so the verb needs an s. For example, reading book is important. As you can see, our subject is reading book. Okay, so we need to use singular verb is. Okay, we don't care if the object is singular or plural. Okay, we only care that if the subject is a gerund, the verb should be singular. Next one, teaching students is my job. The subject is teaching student, so the verb is singular is. So teaching students is my job. We don't care if the object student is singular or plural. But the next example, playing football and having dinner are fun. Okay, so normally playing football is a gerund, but here this time we have two gerunds combined together: playing football and having dinner. So the subject becomes plural. Okay, if we only have playing football, that should be should take a singular verb. But here we have playing football and having dinner, so they are plural now. Playing football and having dinner with friends are fun. Okay, so now let's take a look at the passive of present simple altogether. Okay, everyone. So passive, we can only change. Okay, I forgot the word change. Okay, so we can only change a sentence in active voice to passive voice when the verb in the active voice is transitive verb. Okay, so there are two kinds of verbs. We have transitive verb and transitive verbs. So transitive verb refer to verb that need an object. For example, take, hit, it. Okay, all those verbs take an object. While intransitive verbs refer to verbs that do not need an object. For example, run, okay, sleep. Okay. So let's take a look at the form altogether. Okay, so the form is for active, the subject plus verb. Okay, for the passive one, passive voice, we need to use verb to be plus verb past participle. Okay, so let's take a look at the example altogether. Okay, number 1, I always make dinner for my family. So the subject is I, the verb is make, and the object is dinner. So in passive voice, we need to make sure that we have an object, okay? Because we need to move the object to the front, to the start of a sentence later. Okay, so I always make dinner for my family. The subject is I, the verb is make, and the object is dinner. So we move the object dinner to the start of the sentence. So we say dinner is always made, okay, by me. Okay, so in passive voice we need verb to be. Okay, so am, is, or are, and the verb we need to use the verb past participle of the original verb in the active voice. So make becomes made. Okay, so dinner is always made by me. And number 2, she teaches 5 students. So she is the subject, teaches is the verb, and 5 students is the object. So in passive voice, we move the object to the front. Okay, so 5 students are taught. Okay, so be careful here. So the subject 5 students is plural. Okay, 5 students with an S. Okay, so we need to use verb to be are by her. Okay, so teach, taught. So teach become taught. Okay, you can also say by her or not by her, up to you. Okay, so 5 students are taught by her or without by her, there should be no problem. And number 3, Cambodian people grow rice. So Cambodian people here is the subject, grow is the verb, and rice is the object. So in passive voice, we move the object to the front, rice, and rice is an uncountable noun. And as you have known that, uncountable noun takes singular verb. So rice is grown by Cambodian people. So grow is the verb in present, but the past participle of the verb grow is grown. So rice is grown by Cambodian people. Okay, so now let's take a look at present continuous together. Okay, so we use present continuous to talk about number one, something that is happening at the time of speaking, what we are doing now. For example, we are sleeping right now. Okay, and number two, they are studying English now at the moment. Number three, she is driving now. What is she doing? She is driving now. And number four, he is reading a book. We can also use present continuous to talk about temporary actions. For example, my brother is studying in Russia. So he's only going to Russia to study for a few years. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4 years. Okay, and then he will be back. Okay, so my brother is studying in Russia. It is only temporary. And number two, I with my friends in Phnom Penh. So normally I live in the province with my parents, but now I am living with my friends in Phnom Penh, and it is only temporary. I will go back to the province later. And number three, we are having a lot of assignments this weekend. So normally you do not have assignment to do, but for this weekend, for this week, you are having a lot of assignments. Okay, so this should be all for today. Thank you so much for your listening, and if you have any questions, please let me know.